I'm back here at Doubleback Tasting Room with proprietor Drew Bledsoe. We have here the 2011 vintage, and as I recall, Drew, 2011 was a little bit of a challenging vintage for people, and maybe it kind of steeled you a little bit in terms of your development as a winemaker.
Yeah, you know, I remember it was just a cool year, and we were way behind. And I kept calling Chris, you know, and, hey, how we doing? He goes, yeah, we're a little behind. We'll be fine. You know, I got to, you know, August, and like, hey, how we doing? Yeah, it's still a little cool, but we'll be fine. It always warms up. And then we got to September, and I remember I was driving up here to Walla Walla, and I was driving into the valley, and there was just this blanket of clouds over the top of the valley, and it was kind of drizzly, like it'd be like being in Seattle. And it was going to be like that for like the next 5 days. So I called Chris, like, hey, what about now? Should I worry? He goes, yeah, you might want to worry a little bit. But thankfully we had just this wonderful October that was so warm, and just in this nice Indian summer that got everything ripe. So the punchline on the 2011 vintage is that it was late, it was cool, but it really came around at the end. And what I've discovered now, now that I've been through a few vintages, I really prefer some of the cooler vintage wines.
Let's take a sip of this. I mean, right off the bat, you know, the nose. You know, I've got some dark cherry in there, some leather, some maybe some kind of cedar wood. Maybe a little bit of old leather in there too, but it really seems to be a very approachable wine, and that might be reflective of the cooler vintage. You know, it's not overly huge on the nose.
Right. We're always striving for balance. We really want you know, the wines that we produce to truly be balanced. You know, nice acidity, good structure, but you know, great fruit, but not over the top in any way, right?
You know, it's delicious. It's really got all the nuances of sort of a cool vintage Cabernet. It's really beautiful. It's got a great mid palate, and it has a great little spine of acidity in there as well that some people might not appreciate, and you really need that acidity sometimes to kind of go with food and pairing and so forth.
Yeah. That's what we found, and we found that when we get our wine in front of chefs in a restaurant environment, they really love to have it because they can do a lot more in terms of pairing it with different kinds and styles of food.
It's a great effort in 2011, and I'm sure a great educational vintage for you.
Yes, it was. It was an eye-opener, very nerve-wracking, but thankfully, old Mother Nature, she was very kind to us in October and brought everything around. And that combined with the decision to really bring, I mean, we were down under 2 tons an acre, you know, in total yield in the vineyard. So it was painful from that standpoint, but in terms of what ended up in the glass, it was good.
Well, you'll be ready for the next one.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.